So I want to welcome everybody to another Client Success Call. This is Mike Brown, and I am a life coach and business coach, as you all know. And what I do is I help people to turn their dreams into reality. And you can find out more about me and what I do by going to MikeBrownCoaching.com, and you can get a free video e-course there to turn your dream into reality, whatever it may be, whether it's in business, your relationships, or your career. You can see some more client success videos there as well. But I have a very special guest with me today and client that I'm excited about this client success interview. And this young man's name is Navav Wilf. And he actually founded and sold GarySEO.com in 2009 and DiscoverSD.com in 2011. And after achieving both the success and the failures of being an entrepreneur, he realized that there was one major component missing: using his full potential to help others. So from that, he founded Enlightened was born, with a commitment to empower people to contribute and to be fulfilled. So Enlightened.org, which is the current company he has now, is a philanthropic platform which makes it easy for you to give to your favorite charities that you're passionate about just by shopping online for your favorite brands and without having to spend extra time or money to do that. So when you're shopping on Enlighten.org, you're spending the same way that you normally would, but you're simultaneously earning back a percentage of your purchase for the charitable impact of your choice. It's really an extraordinary business company that you put together. And Navav actually ended up raising, $675,000 to found this company in 2012, and he's been rocking and rolling ever since then. So with no more further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to one of my clients and my dear friend, Navav Wilf. How are you doing there, Navav?
I'm doing well.
Awesome, man. Well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the call today. It's exciting to have you here, young man.
Yep, young and 31. I like the sound of that.
Young and 31. We always like to have young men on the calls.
Yes.
Young, successful men like yourself. Well, I'll tell you what, brother. Why don't we just go ahead and jump right into it and just get into the meat of it, this interview. And I just want to start out by asking you, where were you at? Where were you at before we started working together in your life? In your business or your relationships? Can you kind of give us a nutshell version or a picture of where you were at before we started working together?
Sure. Yeah. Things were good. I was pretty happy. I had, a good life. Appreciated my family, appreciated the friends I had around me, but I could just tell that I wasn't living up to my full potential, and knowing that was a great first step in having that consciousness of, okay, this isn't it. What is it? What are the blocks that I can overcome to achieve what I want? And I decided to move to LA from San Diego, and that's when I met you a few days after I actually moved to LA and started getting your coaching, and that's when things changed quite a bit.
And just to give us kind of a specific idea, where you were at just before that, before we started. Like, where were you at specifically, like, in your business or in your relationships? I know those are two of the things that we focused on.
Yeah, I had, my business. I had, sold my companies, and actually, for the first time, kind of went out on my own without my prior partner, who's we had a great partnership, but I wanted to go and do something new, and I just started really fresh with my new company, and I was scared, scared to be out on my own, and start something really, really new, and kind of had all the reasons why and fears of like why it wouldn't work. So that was where it was with the business, and really starting from ground, square one, and having to raise $1 million to make the business work, and really, really working hard at that. As far as in relationships, I was kind of at a turning point where I had been single for a really long time and dating, people consistently, and realized that wasn't completely fulfilling for me. And, starting to realize that I was actually using women to feed my identity, and making myself feel good about myself, through the people that I was dating, which, was never a good thing. So that was kind of, the point I was at, kind of having a consciousness of knowing that I wanted, something else, but I wasn't sure how to get there.
Got it. And I think that kind of gives us a good picture. And thank you for, by the way, I just want to acknowledge you. Thank you so much for, being vulnerable and sharing that, with us about your life. And so I think that was at the point that, we met and started coaching together. And if you can kind of give me an idea of, what happened during, while we were coaching together, the during part of it, what were some of the biggest breakthroughs that happened for you around your business and your relationships that really jumps out at you?
While we were coaching?
Yeah. While we were working together.
Well, I think the first thing was really setting an intention and moving towards that. And, the intention was to transform my relationship with women and, get into relationships that were empowering and committed, and not necessarily just having a long-term relationship, but just having really authentic, committed relationships, and breaking the pattern of kind of, consistently dating, getting to a certain point and ending it over and over and over again. And then secondly, on the business side was, really setting that intention of raising money and raising $1 million. So both were, so kind of jumping full into that, the idea was to really just take it on full bore, and knowing that, there was going to be, kind of breakdowns and breakthroughs. But on the relationship side, it was really slowing things down. So like meeting women, and just taking it slow, not as fast as I was used to. And that made a big difference, because I started just seeing women as people, not as something that was, someone that was just, I wanted to get something from. And that was a really big breakthrough. And so that was one thing. Secondly, I started feeling more vulnerable in relationships, because I was, focused on dating one person at a time and not hedging my bets with, dating one person. I might like them, but I would date other people. So then if it didn't work out, it wouldn't be so bad.
Right.
And I stopped doing that. And really I got...
And Nadav, if I can ask you, was there and I know there was a lot of conversations that we had around that, if we sat and we talked about that, we probably could talk for hours, because I know there was a lot of conversations that we had through our coaching. But was there something specifically that we did together, in me coaching you, that you remember that stood out, that really helped you? And I know there's a lot of different things, but, maybe the biggest breakthrough that you had in the coaching that you remember around your relationships, it's like something that you did that really transformed your relationships with women in that way. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing was, encouraged me to call women that I, felt like I had, hurt and apologize. And I did, I called like a few a week, and it made me realize the impact that I was having on other people. And that really changed, really changed my point of view, because in the context of being a leader, which is what I want, and, empowering people to contribute and be fulfilled, I wasn't doing that in relationships. I was, just focused on how I felt, and can't be a leader, you can't really be a real leader in one area and not be a leader in another area. So that was a big focus for me.
Yeah, and, I also want to acknowledge you for that, because I know, what it took for you to do that. I do remember that, and I know what kind of courage it took to call those women. And maybe if you can just share with us a little bit, maybe one story without saying their name or anything, but like how that impacted them, or how that altered your relationship with these women that you were calling and, apologizing to, or just taking responsibility for the impact that you had on them. Can you kind of give us a little insight into that without revealing who they are?
Yeah, definitely. I think the one that really stands out is, someone that I was, good friends with, and, was just really continuing to be there for me. And, I dated her maybe a year and a half prior, and I, called her and said, hey, we've been great friends, and I just want to go back to, when we dated, because I felt like we never really got closure on that. And, and I apologized, and she started crying, and it was just, I could see that, she was carrying that for a year and a half and still wanting to be a really good friend to me. And that really made me realize the impact that, I had made and I was making, and that I didn't want to make again.
Got it. I got it. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, man. And that, I think I remember you even, telling me about that, and, the other ones as well. I think that kind of gives us an idea what the other conversations were like, because I just remember you going through that and how it was lightening you up. Like, it was literally lightening, like, you just sound lighter each and every time, you had one of those conversations. So I want to acknowledge you for doing that again. I know that took a lot off of your plate or your back, something that was there for you. And I think it freed you up in a lot of ways. So how about in the other area of your life, in terms of your business or your business venture? What took place, during when we started coaching together? What was maybe the biggest breakthrough or two that you had around that stood out, that stands out for you?
Yeah, we started working together right when I was starting to raise the money, and I just was really like raising money on really just a PowerPoint presentation. The biggest thing that you did different than I'd been doing sales forever, and you have a product and you're able to just sell that product and talk about benefits and things like that. But this was really conceptual to the point where I didn't even know if it was going to happen. And you really got me present to how important it was to get in the investors' world, like what's important to them, and get them present to the impact and the possibility of integrating philanthropy in everyday life, rather than just going in and doing a pitch. And, what that did was, first off, help me actually get the initial investment in at $100,000, but also it just made the experience enjoyable. And whether or not people invested, they knew that I was, in their getting their world, and relating to them as people, not just just as investors.
Right. Right. And, if I can share this, Nadav, I think one of the, and first of all, I want to acknowledge you again because, you really took that coaching on, right away. And I remember you just implemented that instantly. I think we did some role plays around that, and you took that right away and instantly, started working for you. And the other thing that really stands out for me was the vulnerability that you brought to that, because the other thing that you did in those conversations that I think you really brought that made a difference is that you were vulnerable. You shared something with them about you, maybe that you wouldn't normally share with somebody. You shared an aspect or something that you were doing with them, or, that it wasn't necessarily going to make you look good, but you revealed yourself to them. You said, hey, without being specific, you just opened up and shared something. I can't remember the specifics, but I do remember that in some of these conversations you did things like that to create enrollment. Do you remember this?
Mhm.
Would you be open to sharing like we did with the woman, without revealing the person, where you can share maybe a specific moment of one of these conversations that you had with one of these investors, and a little bit about what you shared or whatever, and what came out of that? How you ended up getting one of the investors.
Yeah, I mean, I can say, in generality, actually, just my preference.
Sure.
For people who did invest, it's more, I guess, confidential as far as why, and, those type of things. But really, is what I was sharing was why I started the company and what happened in my life, which was that, I never had any money. I thought that all I wanted was, to make money, be able to spend it and have fun, and then, be nice to people. And when I started getting more and more was that, what really, it's I made some money. I was a bit happier, but I wasn't fulfilled, and I wanted to really make a difference for people. That's what my life was about, and that's what I would share. And I would share that, I left a position where I was making great money, and just wasn't fulfilling for me, and that resonated with the investors I had, and the investors that came in. I mean, they came in right away. They came in within, a couple of days, because they just, were into what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was great. It's really great.
Yeah, and I'm glad it was great, and now I'm remembering this a little bit more, because one of the things I remember, I know you had I think you initially had some resistance, revealing yourself to them, revealing, everything to them like that. And I really encourage you to do that. And I think that's a big part of what created that opening, because there was just so much authenticity there on your part, and it was so enrolling. And I also want to speak to the company. For everybody who's listening, the company that Nadav that created is really extraordinary company. I mean, basically, it's a way for people to give money just through the everyday course of their spending, without having to necessarily give extra money, or it's just if you go to a restaurant, or if you go to a place that you frequently, buy clothes or something like that, where a portion of that money automatically goes toward whatever, organization that you normally give to, whether that's Habitat for Humanity or the Humane Society, or whatever favorite one. And this is what this organization is all about, setting that up and putting that in place. And it's really, really extraordinary, because it just makes it easier for people to give, without necessarily having to go out of their way for gifts. So I just wanted to, acknowledge you for having the idea for that, and not only having the idea, but for implementing and making it real, man. It's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. So was there anything else there that occurred, a breakthrough that happened while we were, during the time that we were working together?
I think those were, the two
those
main
main
focuses,
ones.
and I think the, within those, the breakthroughs were just having a consciousness of being committed to something, but not being attached to outcomes, and I think I've, spoke to 150 investors, 7 said yes, 143 said no, and, it was like not being attached to, it's probably more now, but that have said no, but it's not being attached to their answer, and not being like, oh, well, they don't believe in me, so it's not going to work, or it's not going to it means something, and I think that's what if you want your dream, you have to be able to just keep going in the face of no agreement, like you said.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know out there, no agreement means basically keep going in the face of your own limiting thoughts. Your own limiting thoughts might be, I can't do it, this is not going to work, nobody's helping me, nobody's going to give me the money, whatever. And I'm sure you've had all those thoughts that came up. And so it means keep going in the face of your own, your own limitations, not your own limitations, but your own limiting thought patterns that might come up. And you totally have done that. You continue to do that. And man, I didn't even know I didn't realize that you had talked to that many investors, and you're present. I'm glad you're present to the reality, because that's reality. How many investors have you talked to, and how many have said yes, and how many have said no? I'm just realizing there's another breakthrough that you had on Nadav. It was around going back to investors and continuing to have conversations with them even after they said no. Because I don't know if you remember this, but at one point you were like, you would just go to the next investor, which is cool. I mean, I think it's good to go to other investors and pitch it. But then I remember we had a conversation about going back to ones who said no and finding out why they were saying no. Like, what was it? Like, really, not just ending it, but to keep that going. I think you had a couple times where you went back, and some of those ended up saying yes. Isn't that the case? They initially said no.
Yeah, I think one of them did. I mean, actually a few of them had, not necessarily, well, I guess the point is it's not no. No doesn't mean no indefinitely is what I'm saying. So I didn't even necessarily, hear it as a no. But yeah, a couple I went back, and I'm still going back to them. I'm still going and updating people, and that's how you do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And so then, just moving forward, Nadav, where are you at now? Like, so that's what happened while we were working together, and where are you at now in terms of, your relationships with women or your business?
Well, with women, I haven't found exactly that special someone, but the relationships have been much different, where it's just focused on one person at a time, and much more empowering and much more authentic, and realize the first date is like, hey, I realize that, I have this feeling where I'm not good enough, and so I project on the person I'm dating, and I just want you to know that, because that's just a habit of mine, and it's like first date talk. Not normal for estate talk, but it's actually just completely changes things and gives, person that, you're dating more choices and insight into you, and it changes, the dynamic quite a bit. But I've been just, dating great people and kind of doing it one at a time, and that's been really good. A lot easier, a lot less stressful, and, changes the dynamic. And on the business side, we've raised $675,000. We have, 9 people working, really focused on launching this company, and that's been great as well. So, and really enjoying it, the day-to-day, every day has been a big thing as well. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so I know you had raised $675,000, and you're still working on raising $1 million as well. So you're still talking to investors. And I don't know if a lot of people are going to listen to this call. Maybe you can say something about that in terms of investors. If somebody wants to invest, or if they're looking to invest in your company, is there anything you want to say or speak to people that might be listening to this that might want to invest?
Yeah, I think the company is really inclusive. It's anyone can be a philanthropist. You can do it just by signing up and buying from Nordstrom's or Bloomingdale's or the Gap or Target or whatever you're going to buy from. So that's just great. And then if someone's interested in investing, we can definitely have a conversation about it. And we have some really amazing investors right now, and it would be great to talk. So they can email me at Nadav, Nadav, @enlightened.org for anything. Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. And so that's where people can go as well. Like if people just want to sign up to give that way, they can just go to enlightened.org, right?
Yeah.
And then is there something they do when they get there, or is it pretty much self-explanatory, or what do they do?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they sign up, and then they'll get a welcome email, and they'll get kind of introduction on what to do, and that's how it works.
Got it. And so, okay, and so all that's explained there. When they go there, they can just sign up, and then, okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. Well, Nadav, again, I just want to thank you so much, for doing this call and coming on this call. I know Nadav, he's a very, very busy businessman, so I know how your time is. So thank you for taking the time to do this, and it's been a pleasure and an honor working with you. And I hope we continue to work together, brother.
Definitely, I'm never too busy for you.
Okay, all right, thank you, man. Well, again, so you can go to Nadav's website and find out more. That's enlightened.org. You can either sign up there as a philanthropist, or you can email him at the email address if you want to look to invest in his company, which I highly recommend, because Nadav is going places, and so is this company, so I recommend that. And also, again, my name is Mike Brown, and I'm a business and a life coach. And you can visit me at MikeBrownCoaching.com, and you can get a free video e-course there on how to grow your business, or to start your business, your relationship, or your career, whatever it is that you want. You also see other client success calls there as well. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next call.